Hey, can you imagine going on a hike or even a leisurely walk and finding sculpture made out of nature, like sticks or rocks or leaves? Well, that very thing happened to me 3 months ago. I was in the state of Massachusetts and I was going fly fishing. I had been fishing in this beautiful stream with large boulders and bubbling, churning water, and I was hoping to find a brown trout. I decided to change locations and I walked up the stream a little ways. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, there was this stack of rocks. Definitely not something that you would see naturally. I was very impressed with the delicate balance of each rock. Someone had worked hard to construct this sculpture. Yeah, that's what it was, a sculpture. As I look at those pictures, I wonder two things. First of all, I wonder if that little rock sculpture is still there. Has the wind blown it over? Has the creek risen and swept it away? Has a big branch fallen on it and knocked it over? Or has somebody knocked it over? I hope not. The second thing I wondered, is there artists out there that are considered nature sculptors? A sculptor is someone who makes sculptures. Is there such a thing? I began to research and I found an incredible nature sculptor, and have I got a story for you. His name is Andy Goldsworthy. He was born in 1956 in Cheshire, a county in northwest England. His father and mother were very strict, and they taught Andy to work hard even as a kid. When he was 13 years old, he spent weekends and summers working in nearby farms, mainly in the potato fields. Most teenage boys would be interested in the farming equipment, but not Andy Goldsworthy. He became fascinated with the earth. He said, farming itself is a sculptural process. Fields are plowed, bales of hay are stacked, walls are built. The day is spent shaping and recreating what is around you. In 1974, Goldsworthy studied art at Bradford College of Art and Preston Polytechnic. During his studies there, he disliked the classes in the indoor studio. He wanted to be outdoors instead. Andy Goldsworthy met a land artist by the name of Richard Long, and that changed everything for Andy. Mr. Long used earth, wood, stones, and water to make beautiful art. Andy immediately headed to the beach where he made his first natural art using stones. Andy continued to build outdoor sculptures which weren't seen by very many people, probably because they didn't last very long. Wind, water, the sun, and even decay would destroy them fairly quickly. It wasn't until 1985, on a trip to the North Pole, did Andy Goldsworthy get noticed. He got this idea of an ice sculpture, and he just had to create it. He called it Touching North, which consisted of 4 ice block rings. He found he loved ice and snow to make sculptures. He could use snowballs in a tree to make a sculpture, or use one big snowball at the bottom of a tree. He could use a block of ice and carve circles in it until it almost broke through the center. The sunlight shines the brightest through the circle in the middle, where it is carved the deepest. Andy loved using whatever he could find in nature to make his sculptures. Not just ice and snow, but rocks also. He cracked each of these rocks in half. He then used another rock to scrape away the stone near the crack. Then came the arranging of the stones. He also found some stones that faded from light to dark, and he arranged them just so. Can you imagine walking along a beach and finding this just laying there? Andy began to build walls using rocks and stones. He would build walls up against a tree. He would build wall sculptures through the woods. He would stack flat stones just right to make a stone egg. Now that's cool. Andy used sticks, little sticks, and big logs, and every shape and size in between. And then, my favorite, he used leaves, leaves, and more leaves, bright red leaves delicately arranged on a puddle of water, and different colors of leaves, and bright yellow leaves arranged around the trunk of a tree. It looks like the ground is glowing beneath the tree roots. Andy Goldsworthy could make beautiful sculptures just using leaves. He even learned to roll the leaves up and secure them with pine needles to make a horn. He even used his body with nature to make a sculpture. He saw a rain shower approaching and quickly lay down on the rocks. The rain sprinkled on him, but he didn't move. When the rain shower ended, he quickly jumped up, and what do you think was left behind? His silhouette on the dry rocks. You could even try this using a water hose or a squirt bottle on the concrete. Now, I have a thinking question that I want to ask you. Almost all of Andy Goldsworthy's sculptures were affected by nature. I figured that the logs and the heavy rocks probably lasted quite a while. But the sticks and the twigs and the little pebbles, and especially the leaves, probably didn't last very long. The ice might have melted. The leaves might have gotten swept or blown away. And in time, the wind and the dirt and dust will affect rocks and stones. So here's the thinking question. If you knew that your artwork was going to be affected by nature, that it wasn't going to last very long, that maybe even someone might come along and destroy it, would you still create? That's a hard one, especially if it takes you a long time to create the piece. Andy battled this all the time. The only way that he could keep his sculptures alive, keep them whole, was to photograph them. And so he became an excellent photographer. Today, Andy Goldsworthy lives in Scotland, and he still creates using nature. So that's what I want to do today. I want to make a sculpture using nature. So I've been going along the side of this little creek, and I've been picking up stones that I think might work in my sculpture. And now it's time to create. If you continue to watch our videos and you subscribe, I will continue to make story time and art activities and how-to draws just for you. If you like our channel, you're going to love our High Gatsby Art History video series. It's taught by me and my little buddy Gatsby. Oh, have I got a story for you.